Hello, and welcome to Big Blue News. I am your host, Ian.
And I'm CJ. Before we get into the news, we'd like to wish our very own Paul Varvunas a happy birthday. Now let's get right into the news.
The national election is every 4 years, where U.S. citizens vote for president and vice president during the general election. As of today, there are 25 days left before the election. The presidential nominees are Kamala Harris, representing the Democrat Party, and Donald Trump, representing the Republican Party. The vice president nominees are Tim Walz, representing Democrat, and J.D. Vance, representing Republican. The vice presidents had a debate last Tuesday to show the key policies of each candidate. Check out various news sites to find out more information.
At the September 12th school committee meeting, retiring Superintendent Pamela Angelakis endorsed Swampscott Middle School Principal Jason Couchman as her successor. The recommendation came after the school committee had a conversation about the process of choosing candidates and difficulties other districts have had when filling in someone for the superintendent position. Angelakis said herself, "This job is so heavily weighted in interpersonal skills. Whether it's with students or parents or families or the community, you have to have the ability to adapt on the fly every single day. And so in analyzing my leadership team, particularly in the last couple of years, there is one person who has risen to the top who I think would incredibly well suited for this position." The school committee members seemed to support the recommendation and Mr. Couchman's nomination, but Glenn Pastor, the school committee chair, asked that any students, staff, families, or stakeholders with questions to forward them to the school committee or any individual members of the school committee. At their next meeting on October 24th, they will officially interview Mr. Couchman for the position. On October 30th, there will be a community conversation with Mr. Couchman at Swampscott Elementary School from 6 to 7 p.m. Community members are invited to attend and participate in the discussion. At the following meeting on November 7th, the committee will be prepared to take on a vote on the superintendent position.
On September 16th, the Swampscott Health Department released a notice regarding positive cases of the West Nile virus in Swampscott. This virus is most commonly transmitted to humans from the bite of an infected mosquito. Mosquitoes that carry it are common throughout Massachusetts in both rural and urban regions. The West Nile can spread to people of all ages, but people over 50 are at higher risk of an infection. Here are safety precautions to help try and avoid the virus, according to the department. Applying insect repellent. Try to buy and use any insect repellent to keep mosquitoes away from your skin. Wear certain clothing. To reduce mosquito bites, wearing long sleeves, long pants, and socks can keep mosquitoes away from you. Be aware of when mosquitoes are active. Every day can be a peaking time for mosquitoes. When the risk is higher, consider rescheduling outdoor activities that occur during the early morning or evenings. You can drain standing water. Because many mosquitoes lay their eggs in standing water, you can limit the amount of them by draining or getting rid of items that hold water. Check your rain gutters and drains. You can empty out and/or change any unused pools, flower pots, and bird baths. Install or repair your screens. A lot of mosquitoes tend to come indoors. Keep them outside by having tightly fitting screens on all your windows and doors. Please keep in mind that even though summer is over, mosquitoes are still thriving. Be sure to practice these precautions when going outside so you can protect yourself and others from this illness.
On September 24th, Hurricane Helene, with wind speeds of above 140 miles per hour, and after traveling a distance of 800 miles, came crashing through the south. The hurricane first passed through Florida and started heading towards Georgia and Tennessee, causing major damage to property and housing. After the demolition caused by barreling through the southern states, the death toll from the hurricane rose to over 230 deaths. Along with the damages caused to property, the lower third section of the Appalachian Trail has been shut down because of the dangerous conditions the hurricane has caused. Since then, the hurricane is now long gone, finishing its rampage on September 29th, leaving behind much wreckage and destruction. We hope that people who were affected by the hurricane evacuated safely and didn't have much damage to their property.
The girls' soccer team stands at a 3-5-3 through the first 11 games of the season. They unfortunately took a 2-0 loss to Danvers this past Tuesday. The girls also took on the Fishermen yesterday and tied 1-1. Today, they will take on the Salem Witches and will look to pick up their fourth win. Now, we cut to an interview with 3 of the players.
Thanks, Carlos. As today I'm joined by some of the players on the girls' varsity soccer team. Today I'm joined by
Cecilia Tripp, center back. Greta Sifkin, defensive midfielder. Lala Rogers, forward.
as the Big Blue are coming off a 3-0 victory with a clean sheet against Malden Catholic on September 30th. Cecilia, after a clean sheet, how do you think the defense has done stopping the attack and building up counterattacks?
I think the defensive line has been very strong this year. The center backs do a great job supporting the outside defenders, and the outside defenders
work with the wingers on midfield to make overlapping runs, and our communication plays a key role in the game.
Thank you. As we're also joined by Greta Sifkin, midfielder. Greta, how do you think the midfield is done building up chances on offense and helping defensively?
I think the midfield comes back and supports the defense very well, and I think that we generate opportunities for the forwards to score with through balls and over-the-top balls.
And we're also joined by Lila Rogers. Lila, coming off a brace, how do you think the attack has done scoring goals and getting pressure off the rest of the team?
I think our attack has a lot of speed, so it helps us stay up the field and make those runs from the midfield from their through balls. And I think the forward and holding are able to work together on both sides of the field.
Thank you guys for your willing to do this interview. As if you ever want to watch any of the girls' soccer teams play, make sure to tune in on Swampscott Big Blue Athletics to watch at home. And we'll cut it back to the sports desk with Carlos.
The boys' soccer team currently stands at 7-3-2 through the first half of the season. The boys took on the Peabody Tanners this past Tuesday and tied 2-2. They also rematched the Gloucester Fishermen and won 1-0. This Saturday, they take on the Lynn Classical Rams and look to keep the ball rolling through the second half of the season. Field hockey took on Danvers on Tuesday in a nail-biter, but ultimately tied 2-2 after the Big Blue were leading 2-0 for a majority of the game. Their next game will be against Marblehead on Monday. The Big Blue volleyball team stands at 10-4, winning 3 out of their last 5 games, beating Saugus, Georgetown, and Winthrop, and losing 2 close games to Danvers and Northeast Metro Tech. They took on Salem last night, where they won in a clean sweep. They take on Peabody on Tuesday night. Big Blue football took on Melrose a few weeks ago, where they lost 27-34. They've had a bye week this past week as they look to bounce back together against Gloucester. That's it for Big Blue News. We thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.